Hey classmates, it's Sean.
And Rob.
And this is How Do You Want It?
A podcast exploring sex, relationships, friendships, the arts, and everything in between amongst Black queer men. Welcome back, folks.
Yes.
We got a very special episode for y'all.
We do.
Today.
We have a special guest.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
The legend, the Hall of Famer, the Bicon icon, J.R. Yusuf. Author Stress.
Okay.
DJ Stress.
Okay.
DJ Sunny D. Get
Podcast
into it.
stress.
Podcast Stress down.
Okay.
Activist. Different areas everywhere.
It's true. A scholar.
A multi-talented artist and bicon.
Okay. With a nasty pony, bitch. You see her.
Period. You see
know her.
You know the vibe.
You know the motherfucking vibes.
Okay. Boom. What's that, sister?
I'm good. What's tea?
We here,
We
friend.
here.
I am
We
so
outside.
excited. We
I'm so excited to have you on,
But
bitch.
inside. Hi, sisters.
What's been going on?
Yes, it's been a long time coming to have you on.
It has been. I've been meaning to make my way uptown for the
Yes.
podcast. And I've done it.
And we're here for a very special occasion to celebrate your new book.
Yes.
Sean, get your book ready.
Okay. Because you know I got mine.
Yeah.
Dear,
Yeah.
Why Bad
Yeah.
by J.R. Yusuf, out now.
Yeah.
Yes.
An excellent read, friends. Y'all gotta get it, get into it. Where can they find it? Plug real quick.
Yeah, you can find it anywhere where books are sold. I'm very happy about this release. It's global. I have been published by North Atlantic Books. However, we have a distribution deal with Penguin Random House, which means it's everywhere, you know.
I love that. Come on, everywhere.
He's telling me it's everywhere.
Where can you find it? Everywhere.
Everywhere,
The
bitch.
fuck?
The books are
That's
sold.
really
honey.
iconic. Where can you find it? Everywhere.
Thank you.
We're gonna get fully deep tissue into the book. Shout out to
Yes, deep tissue.
I got that
You
from
ate
Deshawn.
that.
Deshawn. No, I'm not gonna, baby. I'm gonna always credit the girls when I, Deshawn. Let's get deep tissue into either Deshawn or Lego LaBeija. One of them.
Mhm.
Yes, Javera. But yes, we're gonna get into the book fully later. We're gonna start things off light and fun, free and festive.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have fun later as well, but we're just a little Bianca because we're the girls who always talk about her. It's true. So we're going to get into what your current favorite song is by her. I think we're gonna do a little guessing game.
Okay.
So you wrote your answer down.
Did.
Oh.
But we're gonna guess what we think your favorite track is at the moment.
But I feel like this is
shit.
like, is it favoritism? No, not favoritism. It's like, but I feel like you might know it, but Sean might not know it. So how is...
You never know.
I don't
That's
know.
true. That's true.
No. Cause I'm thinking, Arisha Joe told me her two favorite tracks, and I gagged. I was like, "That's my sister to the core. Like I know
Right.
her, and I never would have guessed those two songs ever."
Okay.
So that's
Okay.
that's the thing about Bianca. She bring out different things for the
It's true.
girls,
It's true.
Okay.
It's true.
So
Okay.
who knows?
Okay.
Sean, I'm gonna let you go first.
Oh,
What's your guess?
Shit.
This is about me. It's about my favorite song.
J.R.'s favorite.
Mine.
Currently.
I don't know.
Currently.
It's actually really tough. I don't know. I feel like Jared's favorite song is.
Careful. Watch it.
I'm careful.
I was gonna say, oh my gosh. Oh, you know what?
What?
I would say Riverdance.
Okay.
I would say
no
Riverdance
reaction.
is
No
Jared's
reaction.
favorite song.
I still gotta guess. Okay, my favorite. No, I don't think we have the same favorite. Well, we might, but I'm between two songs at the current moment.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite.
Favorites, like up there, like the supreme girl.
Mm.
Not two. Top two and not two.
Okay. I'm between two things for two different reasons.
Okay, let's hear.
So I'm between. I don't. This is controversial. Whatever. I'm between. Not be forgetting the title track. Daughter and American Requiem. Daughter because it has the Caro Mio band in it.
And you
know you went to Italy and had to listen.
Yeah. Know me, yeah.
So I think that's why I'm leaning towards that one.
Uh-huh.
However, American Requiem, because she is kind of dragging the girls in her own way. Like she obviously not going to give you a dissertation, but she's going to drag them in the way that she. A light drag, not too much. So, but I'm going to go with American Requiem. That's my final answer. I think I'm wrong, but I'm going to submit that answer anyway.
Okay, so I'm going to do a reveal of what my actual answer is.
Uh-huh.
Can I get a drum roll, please?
Doom.
What was it?
I can't see.
Yeah!
That's your favorite too.
That's my favorite. That's the number one for me.
Yeah.
Bring back Funk Yonsei. Yeah. Let's cheers to that.
Yes.
Let's cheers to that.
To Mother Tina.
That's true.
And Mother Tina.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was also dragging the girls in that one too.
Woo.
Wow, what a time.
A
What a
song.
moment. Oh yes.
It's the number one for me.
Oh yes.
Still is.
Quadruple platinum.
To this day. To this day.
Okay. We'll discuss that more at length. But I just wanted to do like a cute little fun like Beyonce moment, you know?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, Yaya. You're falling out again. Oh my God. Speaking of music and musical tings, we're going to do the usual Bush Queens Vote a playlist, BQ Bap. We're going to get to our, favorite new bops that came out recently. It's been a minute, child, because we did the Arianka review, we did the Bianca review.
It's true.
And now we haven't done a new bops in a while, so we getting back to that. I'm going to start. I have Up For Me by Radio. That's Issa's group she started that during the Insecure era. We'll talk about that later. And God, it's a twosome. Two beautiful black women, sickening. They have a ton of bops, if you ask me. So, Up For Me by God and Radio, and Texas Hold'em. Speaking of the horsey pony lady,
Okay.
but the Pony Up remix, okay? Because she said it's a rodeo, we gonna do-si-do, and that got me up. I don't know about y'all, but I was like, well, shit. It's just so country. It's so much fun. It reminds me of Virginia. That's all I got.
Not Virginia.
It do.
Why of all the states?
Wait, I heard they be shooting out there though.
They shoot everywhere.
Oh,
That's
okay.
all
Well, the girls that were shooting the kids the other day.
What?
God damn. Oh
right. You
yes.
want to recount the tale?
Girl.
Well,
Oh yes. A story to be told. Oh my God.
Later.
I won't get too much into it now, but woo. They were shooting down the
back
Queens, honey.
our guns. No, I'm kidding.
Okay. Take the guns away.
I'm just kidding.
Okay,
Yeah.
The girls look at the
No
guns. I'm
thoughts.
like,
No more
oh my
guns.
God, no
Enough.
more. Y'all don't be looking at who y'all shooting at no more. You don't even be.
Just
They
spraying.
just
They
be
go like
spraying.
this.
Just
Child.
spraying, just shooting, hoping for the best. Like, honey,
like I wasn't even in it, and now I'm hit.
Nah, my pinky toe fucked up.
Okay.
Anyway, we could talk about that.
Now I got holes in my forearm because
You
you here wanna look at the bitch you hate that you wanna shoot at. Now I'm fucked up. After three margaritas, got a bullet hole. That's crazy.
Oh my Lord.
That's crazy.
You are Aggie. What are your songs, friend? Before we fuck around and be here 3 hours.
Mine is Alter Ego by Doechii and JT.
The Doge Stress.
That was
Two
a good
Florida
one
girls.
too. And I have Sir's new song off his new album. The song called You. is my other one.
That's the best song on that album.
Mm-hmm.
You heard it here first.
Well, it's true. He also has a couple good ones. He has one with Anderson .Paak that's really good. And I think it's called Poetry in Motion.
I will not elaborate. Sorry, yes, keep going.
You don't like her, do you? He doesn't like her. He never saw her.
We'll talk about it later. So You by Sir.
Right, okay.
And R&B stress. Honestly,
Love Sir.
y'all get on that fucking internet every day and talk about R&B is dead, R&B is dead. But you're not listening to the girls. You only listen to Chris Brown. And that's your fucking problem.
Ooh,
Sir.
read them. Read them.
Periodically. Sir. Luke James. Destin Conrad. I fucking get on here every day
Lucky day.
and talk about goddamn Destin Conrad. Y'all gotta get into the girls. Anyway, but
They singing.
that's what it is.
They
They're
niggas are
singing.
singing.
They are. You just gotta branch out.
Because they don't want to do the work. They don't want to do it.
They want to listen to Chris Brown's 40-song albums, don't they?
Oh my god. I don't want to talk
Well,
about
let me not
that
say
man.
nothing more before the brigade just gonna start
Chill, fuck them people.
fighting me.
Gerald, what are your songs?
Oh yes. Okay.
What you got, Fred?
Child. Okay, so the first song that I have is by this artist from the UK. He is a bi-black man. His name is Josh Tenor. And he has a brand new song called Don't Forget the T. It's a LGBTQ plus anthem all about celebrating queerness in general and also especially highlighting like transgender people. Love that song. Very cool. Very like pop / R&B / rap sort of.
Ooh.
That kind of. It's very cute.
Okay.
Very cute.
Ooh.
Very easy to listen to.
Okay.
And then Hands to Heaven by You Know Who.
Okay.
You know.
Oh, yes.
You know.
Yeah.
And I almost said that for your favorite song, but I was like, no, that would be too obvious. Because
Mm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Controversial take. I'm not even going to give it. It's fine. It's to pay.
You sure? I really want to talk about it.
Remember how when Renaissance came out, the girls was like going up for Cuff It. And I was just sitting there like, this is the one y'all are elevating? This is the girl? And after a while, it grew on me. It did, and she released Cuff It, the remix, and that's the Supreme. Anyway, but it grew on me over time. And I think that's Two Hands to Heaven for me. It's gonna grow on me, but like initially it doesn't like move me to tears. And that's crazy because people live for that song.
I'm so shocked to hear you say this.
I'm shocked myself because it seems like
wow.
the kind of song that I would really live
Yeah.
for. There's something in it that is missing for me.
Let me
and
tell
I
you
haven't
something.
found what it is.
Let me tell you something.
What?
When I get my vinyl player and I play the vinyl one, which apparently it's longer on the vinyl record than it is in
absolutely
the
not.
actual song.
She's crazy.
That's part of the problem. Anyway,
I'm
yeah.
just saying, maybe the vinyl version is better, girl.
Maybe so. I don't know. But
really, this is shocking because
it
like
doesn't move me to tears.
like the movement, the musical movement, movements, and also the harmonies and like the
She do
different.
that all the time.
Yes, right. We know her. She's her mind.
Layers.
Yes, but like this is surprising for me.
It surprises me too because people keep saying that and I'm like, damn, let me re-listen. Let me re-listen. When I re-listen, I same kind of like, okay. Like I hear it, but
and you don't hear the story, the storytelling, like that she's setting the scene.
I always say this, I'm not a lyrics girly.
Oh.
If the lyric happens and it moves me, that's the thing. But I'm not like specifically listening to a song for the lyrics.
Hey.
I'm listening more harmonies, vocals, like the stuff in the background.
Oh,
And
wow.
I think what it is, I said I was going to get into this, but there's not like a huge climax, whereas most of her songs like that give that.
Okay.
I don't feel like there's like a moment.
Oh.
Now, what I will say is, I love that goddamn, what's her name, Miss Kelly? Put these tips on my hips.
the choreographer.
Dre Kelly.
So
Dre
funny.
Kelly.
I love her.
That trend is so funny to me. It makes me kind of like the song.
It's perfect and like it's perfect and like when I get older, I aspire to be like her.
Her flexibility is
sickening.
What a woman.
Baby, get into the Sweet Honey Bucket one. That one is a key.
Which one is
She
that?
said, bucket.
Oh, I didn't see that.
I'm going to send it to you. I'm actually going to post it. I was trying to do a side-by-side with me doing this. She is so funny. Anyway, so yes, we can talk about Beyonce at length because we always do, but let's not drag it. Let's move into our next segment-ish. We're, what's got the girls up? We're doing Survivor as we do. We have many episodes, but we're not going to spend a ton of time on them. So I'm going to try to breeze through. I always say that, but I'm really going to do it. So, episode 6, Jem's Boot. Jungle Gem.
Gotta get out of here. Bye, girl.
That episode was crazy.
That's what she fucking gets for trying to set up Tim. That's what she fucking gets.
Anyway,
I
so
told you what Diane said about her.
Oh yeah.
Diane said it's a hot place in hell for you being a person of color going against another person of color in a game like Survivor. I said, now look, here go to Karma. Boom, got her ass right out. Now who's next? What? He said that's the theme of the season. So
because what the fuck is going on here,
girl?
I'm annoyed. Like if the winner isn't pleasing, I'm gonna be sick of the season because they played.
That's gonna be Liz white ass in a minute. Better watch out.
Sean, please.
She gonna walk her right ass to the white ass right to the final.
Baby, if that happens, I'm gonna win fantasy league, so I wouldn't be pissed.
I'll tell you,
but because nobody else saw it for her. I said there's something about her.
She gonna watch all these niggas get each other out.
If Liz wins, I will be shocked.
Right? But I see a winner edit in there.
For
the new era loves to hide the winner and like kind of downplay them, like the kooky little random ass white girl, and then you get to the end and she won. Like, girl. Anyway,
if that happens, I'll be. I gotta be over it.
I have no argument why I think she's gonna win, but continue.
Anywho, so Jem get out because she holding a machete to Tim and Ben like, well, who are you guys voting for? Like it was like a lot, and so she had the idol. She did not play it. 3 votes, Jem, she's out.
Bye.
Let's move on to episode 7 now. The merge, or the fake merge, the mergatory, as they call it. So they split the girls up. It's 2 groups. One group has basically most of the niggas I'm rooting for. It's Tim, it's Q, Tiffany, I think Kenzie in that group. And the other group has people I don't really care about. But also in that group is Tim, right? And Tim is black. And Tim's a little bit low-key, but I kind of am still kind of rooting for him. Anyway, we get to Tribal Girl. Q is at odds with Tim.
Of course.
As he should have been, though. No shade.
Get into it.
No shade.
What do you think?
Okay, so they had a plan to do Final 6. Tim never told, what's her name? Maria. And that's like a big deal. And like, then he gave some like kind of like bullshit answer as to why he didn't tell her. Okay, you didn't tell her yet. And then he was like, oh, but I'm gonna tell her. And then Q had to be the person to tell her.
Really get into it.
And I kind of, and like, like for me, Q is not, my type of like player. However, I was feeling him. I felt him in that moment, especially after he had to go to Maria and Maria was still shocked. It would be one thing, to tell, like, oh, Tim, you told, like, everybody know is in on the Final 6, right? Oh, no, actually, I need to go tell Maria. Oh, okay. We said we was going to tell everybody, but okay, go tell her. And you still didn't tell her. Like, I had to tell her. And she was like,
this or not?
And she was like, oh, okay. So Tim was moving funny. And like, for me, of course, I was rooting,
But they both black, so it's like, okay, well then, like, what is a given? But
he was moving funny to me. Tim was moving funny. He was moving weird.
He didn't want one of his green people to go though. That's what I remember.
Yeah. And they peeped that very early. It was like, oh, you trying to do? We see what you're trying to do.
And you gotta be very careful with that, because the people are smart. They're paying attention. Like, you have to give an inch. He wasn't giving nothing. No, and so I get why they voted him out. I just still don't think it was a great idea. So, we lose Tim. And then on the other side, it was Soda in that group, not Tim. So Soda's in the other group. Now, here's the thing. I was a Soda stan. I still am,
Yes.
really.
Yes.
I think she was playing a great game
Yes,
socially. She was under the radar. She's not like a super, to them, she's not going to appear as like a physical threat or anything.
Really?
And you know, I don't know what that's based in.
Because she was a
like
physical threat. She
I
was
think
in
people
challenges
see
moving.
someone who is bigger and they think, oh, they're not going to do well in challenges. And that's not the case. Because we saw with Carla, I don't know if you watched 43, but Carla was a bigger woman and like won like 3 immunities. So it's like, you can't let these stereotypes about body image and body size like determine what's going to be a challenge threat. Because that's usually never the case. Anyway, so Tevin, here go Tevin. Oh, well, you know, Soda's social threat, And Venus was already eating it up because she wanted to get her out. And Liz, too. I'm like, the Nami girls, y'all are fucking up your games.
Yeah.
All of you.
I agree with that. I agree.
So they plotting and scheming. Venus going around. Oh, yes, my idea. Maria said, relax. Don't approach me like that. That was very aggressive.
It was.
And that's what I've been saying. Venus, like...
Oblivious?
There's something, like, oblivious about her social, like, game. It's like, you don't realize that you're coming off very, like...
Abrasive.
Yeah, and it's like, how do you not see this? And then different people are kind of telling you that. I don't think she has the self-awareness. And I know the Twitter girlies love her.
Really? What do they like about her?
She's a pretty girl.
Okay.
I'm
she's
so
pretty,
sorry.
That's really what it is. You want to talk about it?
And I think some of them, they do like chaotic gameplay. Like it's closer to what an old school game would be.
Yeah, but it's easier to adjust when it's a light-skinned Latina.
Well, she's not that. She is Middle Eastern. But light skin nonetheless.
Right. No, but also,
yeah, I get what you're saying though. Yeah. I don't see it for her. I never will. And that's okay. I can't stand everyone. I love Maria. She's fab. Anyway, so we get to Tribal and Soda is blindsided.
That was wild.
I was pissed. I was so mad. I was like, oh my God, my sister.
No, that was wild.
And I went to her watch party that she hosted. So I kind of gagged. It was like, girl, you threw this party for you to be going home. I was devastated. Anyway, so that's episode, 7 in a nutshell? Child, fast forward to episode 8. We finally get a full tribal council where it's all of the girls together and they can all vote. And who wins immunity? It was Hunter. Hunter wins immunity. He's really flying under the radar for a bigger man archetype. They usually are kind of targeted. So I'm watching him. Surprise. He might sneak by to the end with his idol. But the people are kind of targeting Venus on the surface.
Yeah, they find it annoying, but
child, the girls are like, what about Tevin? Now, you know who would not have went for that? Soda. You know who would have protected you, Tevin? Soda. Girl, you knew Era Girl, stop voting out your allies.
It's early, too.
At 10? That's crazy. Anyway, so I think there was another argument to vote someone else, but not really. It was really just Venus and Tevin. And we see Tevin go, and it is what it is. I was like, revenge! Yes! Redemption for Soda. So Tevin goes, and I was okay with it. Because why the fuck would you vote out?
You were okay with it?
Yeah. Because it was like basically his plan to get Soda out. So I was like, it is what it is, girl. I hope they don't target any more black people. Because I'm shaking and quaking.
Well, ain't that many left, so.
Right. We got Q and Tiffany.
They going at each other.
That's
at
it.
This point.
Yeah.
And that's when I'm just like,
I hate it. I hate it here.
Where's the unity?
And Q is really getting on my goddamn nerves.
Where's the sisterhood?
Not here.
Not a survivor.
Well, Tiffany was trying to be
Tiffany
sisters.
was the other one.
Tiffany was trying to be sisters, but Q was not trying to be sisters. Q was trying to dominate. Oh, this is my way. We doing this. What?
And Q's Aggie. He gotta go.
Be serious.
And you know what? His fucking stunt that he pulled at Tribal Council, that would have had me so tired. Like, bitch, I would have voted him off right now. Right now. I'm not doing this. I'm not voting this nigga.
Like,
you want fame or no? I'm not doing this. I'm not
fuck
doing
the
this.
plan. He gotta go.
He gotta go. Right
Because
now.
if y'all don't remember, he kind of did this earlier too.
He pissed y'all off too? Yes.
Like there was
Fake quit.
Fake quit. Oh, I made a mistake. Y'all should. I don't deserve to be here, bro.
Is part of that strategy though? You think?
I don't think so. I think he is not okay, and it's no shade.
No.
I am not okay. A lot of us are not okay.
Most of us are not.
Most of us are not
It's
okay.
true.
I don't think he's okay. When
Yeah.
he is not excellent, when he's not overperforming, he does not think that he's worthy.
He go to a place.
Okay.
You feel like you gotta take the blame for everything.
Girl.
And then want to vote himself out. But then it's also like, girls. It's
We
also
have
at a
a
certain point,
plan.
like, girls, stop.
Really?
Like, get it together.
Enough.
Now, if it's later revealed that it's tragedy and he win, would y'all get?
I'm
would
beating his
die.
ass.
Yeah.
I was like, why did you do all of that?
We're jumping him.
If
Come
it
outside.
works.
Outside. Ain't
If
nobody
it
gonna jump you.
works, then he ate. I'm sorry. If he wins,
It's not. It's gonna piss him too off. There's already pissing him off because it's already pissed off Kenzie and it's already pissed off Tiffany.
but they're not.
And this
they're
already
not the
happened twice
majority,
now.
though.
But
I
they're
think
over
you can
him.
work with
But
more
they're
people.
over
But
him.
I still think more people like Tiffany and more people like Kenzie than
yes.
they do like Q. So I feel like if them two were to be like, this nigga's pissing us off, what about
Let's
y'all?
go
They
around.
gonna be like, yes. Because
Yes.
Q's also not making friends at this point. He's making
And
more
that's
enemies
more reason
than
to
he's
keep
making
him.
friends.
I'm sorry. In the new era, you kind of want to take people that you know
nobody's
are
gonna
not
go
like.
for it.
He's less likable than Tiffany and Kenzie.
Ah.
So, child, if I'm Hunter or I don't know Charlie, I'm like,
You gonna take Q with you?
yeah, over Tiffany and Kenzie, they're gonna beat him
Really?
socially.
Well, yes.
Think socially. Charlie or Hunter, whoever the fuck, they're like, okay, they're likable-ish, but I think they're not as likable as Tiffany or Kenzie. Ben at Tribal Council, like, yes, I had a moment, but Kenzie's lovely. Here go Q. Yes, Kenzie is like the most lovely person I've ever met. You do not want to sit next to that person at the end because you're gonna lose. So if I'm them and I'm seeing these things happen, I'm like, I love y'all, but
Fair.
I'm not going to the end with y'all.
I don't know if people thinking like that though.
Child,
I don't know.
The girls, I feel like the girls have been watching so long, the players, that like,
So you gonna put up with that nigga the entire
Yes.
time you're on that beach?
absolutely.
And Survivor?
Yes.
Let me tell you something. I'm not doing
If
it.
I'm gonna win, yes, I'll put up with anything. Baby,
You sure?
$1 million is gonna
You sure?
change my life, sister.
I don't know.
Baby, we going, we
That's
got
true.
the 7 C's. Yeah.
Yeehaw!
Yeehaw. After I win my $1 million from being on an island with annoying people.
Please.
Because that's what you kind of gotta do. Like, the social game is supreme. So if people are annoying, you gonna have to deal with it. It's only 26 days.
Mm.
I'm gonna deal with an annoying girly for however long I got to if I can beat them.
So do you think Q's that much annoying now that it'll take his ass all the way to the end?
Potentially. And I think the same thing with Venus. People don't like her. They find her like...
So they know nobody's gonna vote for her. If she's in top 3, top 2, nobody's voting for her.
That's a 0 vote finalist.
0.
Mark my words. And watch me gag if she win.
12 votes.
Oh, I would gag supremely.
No.
Anyway, no, I don't think people really like her.
I
No,
don't
they
think that's
strongly
like
dislike her.
Maria said, enough.
Okay.
I don't like the way you said that.
Maria
to me.
is me, girl.
Me too, because I'd have been like, ma'am, I like you, but don't come at me like that again. That's crazy. Anyway, so we lost Tevin. That's episode 8. I do think Q's potentially going next week. Or maybe Hunter.
He needs
It's
to
a
go.
man. I think a man is leaving.
Oh, imagine if Hunter leaves. Okay, so I told Rob my predictions. I said, "Oh, Q got one more week in him. He going next week."
Yeah, we need to.
They're setting it up for that, but they
Who
love a
knows?
misdirect. They love to be like, oh, it's gonna be cute. Tune in, and it's like fucking Charlie or like Maria or something. Which Tiffany had a great read. Maria is sneaking by.
She is. No shade.
So Tiffany, I think Tiffany and Kenzie are like the most level-headed.
Yeah,
people
and clocked like really super
really
aware. Yeah, so, they're so amazing.
I love them. That duo is.
They're amazing. Wow.
Yeah,
they're
I fuck with them. So yeah, that's Survivor though. Woo, I think we did a good job of like keeping that brief because, y'all, you know, I could talk about Survivor forever. But yeah, so Survivor, that's the recap. Let us know who your faves are, why you don't like Venus. Why Tubman deserve to go home. You know, whatever you feel.
Why Q's next?
Okay.
Whatever your feels and thoughts are, let us know. We're gonna move into the main event, the meat and potatoes of the episode, the iconic, illustrious interview.
Miss J.R. Youssef.
Hi.
The authoress, like Maya Wilkes.
Yes. She was my favorite. Wait, can we get to that for a second? I know this is not about girlfriends. I'm sorry. I have to talk about
girl.
Yes, authoress. Yes. Okay. Who was your favorite? Was Maya your favorite? Maya was my favorite.
Yes.
And like I rewatch sometimes, and I'm like, oh, I would have either been cool as fuck with Maya or
Lynn. No,
Maya. Or I would have tried to date Maya.
Yeah.
Like Maya's cool as fuck, bro.
Yes.
She did have a period of singlehood because she was with Darnell for like most of the series.
Right, because High School Sweethearts, which was a terrible idea. Terrible. Do not ever do that, please.
Shit. You're right.
You change so much in your 20s. Your frontal lobe develops, and
then they had Jabubu.
Yes, I love Jumanji.
Jambalaya. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, no.
Clown. Yes.
Great. Yeah, Maya. Maya's the girl.
She was the one.
Could not stand John. Oh my goodness.
And I think I watched, I think, as like a preteen-ish. Mm-hmm. So she was the main character, so you were kind of rooting for her.
Yeah.
But rewatching as an adult, it was
Joan
like...
is insufferable.
Oh, Joan sucks.
Boo!
Boo this lady!
Oh,
it was crazy.
Shout out to Tracy Ellis too. Like,
I love Tracy.
I love Tracy.
Rich
icon.
Rich auntie.
Okay.
I want to be like. Yes.
Aspirations.
Tracy.
Okay.
Yes. She's the woman. Right? She's the queer. She's the queer. She's her. Okay.
It's true.
However, Joan Clayton.
Oh no.
Oh.
One chop, two chops.
No.
The panel chopped you. Thank you for coming.
No.
But yes, how do we get to Joan? We start. Oh, authorstress. Yes.
Authorstress.
Yes. It's true.
Please.
Oh my God! Wait, can I pull myself together? I have to get serious. I told you I had to get serious for this portion.
We don't need to be serious.
Okay, well, just like a little bit serious.
Okay.
You know? Just like a hint of serious with like the usual Jewish. So many of you may know, many of you may not know. This is not JR's first book.
It's true.
Look at you, you falling out.
Why are you down there?
Impossible. You gotta go to jail. Come on. Yes, this is the second. Compose ourselves. We gotta compose ourselves. The second book. Now, the first, the other F word, was a different project. You spoke about forgiveness. You were still falling out.
I'm getting it together. I'm sorry.
Okay. You spoke about forgiveness. It was a different sort of focus.
Yeah.
What do you feel was the process? What do you feel was different in the process of writing that book versus Dear by Men?
Yeah, that's a great question. Okay, so first of all, with my first book, it's hard because like with the first book, you don't know if you could really do it. It's like, oh, can I do it? And it's an identity thing too.
Yeah.
It's like you're changing from like not an author to an author. So there was that identity shift there, and also like maybe some resistance, like, oh, I can't do this, or like, oh, do I want to do, like, you know, all of that. Versus like, I already wrote a book. Okay,
right.
next book. Like it's not. Oh, can I do that? Bitch, I already did it. You know what I mean? So there's that, and then also with the first book, I was writing the first book kind of like late high school. So late high school, went into college like, oh yeah, I'm writing this book. I would tell all of my friends or people I met, oh, like, yeah, I'm an actor, I'm a writer, I'm writing this book, blah, blah, blah. And it would be like, okay, nigga, yeah, you writing a book, okay. Yeah, we all writing a book.
Sure,
Yeah.
People will hate.
Well,
I mean, like that.
Yeah, that's
true. What do you mean? Don't scoff at my dreams. I'm doing this.
That's so funny.
Oh,
yeah, that's true. That's true. No, but
it.
a lot of people believed in me. I did have haters, but no, a lot of people believe. I had supporters too.
Okay.
I had a lot of supporters.
Love that.
I like this hater narrative though. It gives me fuel.
It like empowers you.
Nobody believed in me. My teachers told me I couldn't read.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
My teachers told me I couldn't read.
I'm sorry.
The wife can't read.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay. So
your listeners are gonna be like, what the fuck are you on?
Okay. So yeah, that was his first book. Lots of identity stuff, and also like it took me a couple years to like kind of a long time to write that because I was literally through college, you know, kind of going back to it during the summers off of college, things like that. So kind of taking my time, and then I finally published it in 2016. Yeah, so that was the first book, and then with the second book, this shit like was really fast. So I wrote this in 2019, like the skeleton, the real like book in 2019, and just since then I've kind of been adding little things before it finally got published. But basically what was happening right before I wrote this book is I had written another book. It's like a novel or whatever, which I'm now like about to start re-editing and start trying to like get it published. But I was in my zone from writing the novel, so like going to the library every single day or going to a cafe every single day and putting in at least like 2 hours of work into it every single day, no matter what. So once I finished writing that novel, the idea for this book came, and then I wrote this book in like 4 months, like the skeleton, like really fast. That's the fastest I've ever written like any kind of like book or whatever. It kind of like flowed out of me. And I think a real big reason for that is because I had been doing so much research over the years, really just to feel valid in my own identity and like, you know, all of that. So by the time I had the idea like, oh, let's write the book, it's like, oh, okay, I know what I'm gonna write. Like, oh, I know what gotta be in this. I know like what the chapters kind of have to be or whatever. And so it kind of like just, you know what I mean?
That's cool. I love that.
So very different from the first one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's beautiful. Speaking of processes, how do you feel DJing? And I'm gonna throw a potential caveat in here if you want to throw in acting as well. DJing, the process of doing that versus writing, and if you want to add in acting as well.
Yeah.
Because I didn't mention that in the intro, and I'm remiss for not adding.
Yeah. They're so different. They're so different, but I would say one thing that like connects all of them is just like I guess kind of what my mind focuses on or kind of like is aware of, pays attention to with music, of just absorbing music, absorbing the heartbeat of different songs, and like, oh, something about that speaks to me specifically. Maybe other people don't like it or whatever. but like, oh, there's something here. This is interesting to me. And so I see that in my writing. I see that in acting too. Like, oh, something about this is speaking to me. So
like if you like have a role, you're like, oh, this part of this character speaks to me. Let me like kind of hone in on that kind of thing.
Yeah, and let me
beautiful.
try to bring myself to it, or let me try to bring what I think would be interesting or daring to do. Yeah.
The authenticity that has.
Okay, you know.
I love that.
Oh, thanks.
And
That's
so,
really like true to you. Sorry, go ahead.
no. I mean, speaking of authenticity, like when we talk even about how this book even got started, about Dear Bi Men, it started just authentically on social media, just the hashtag bisexual men speak. So can you talk a little bit more about that hashtag, the social media, that moment, and then how that turned into now this book that we love so much?
Thank you.
Yes, of course.
Sorry.
From social media to the world, like, you know.
Yeah. So I was at work. You know, I'm a bartender for my job, for my survival job, for my money. Yeah. And I was bored. It was a slow day one day in 2018. And so I just started tweeting. I was talking to one of my mutuals. We were talking about different celebrity couples who we found both partners attractive. And they brought up someone who I will not name. And I was like, oh, they were biphobic toward bi men in particular. And they were like, oh, I didn't know that. And I was like, yeah. They apologized and stuff, but yeah. So then I kind of just started, but then I just kind of started tweeting, just kind of remembering like how irritating that whole thing was. It was basically like, you know, like what everybody kind of says, which is like, oh, I didn't know men could be bisexual. Like people know women can be bisexual kind of, but you know, when it comes to like men and people's ideas of men, which is like rigidity, masculinity, one thing, this thing, you know, it's like, yeah, you can't be fluid or you can't be bi, essentially. So, yeah, I started tweeting, and basically what was happening during July of 2018 is UK, like they had their London Bi Pride, and it was right around that weekend, that time. And so I think because I have a lot of followers from the UK, some of them saw it.
Men them.
in it, bro.
Right.
Yeah. I love y'all so much. I'm sorry. I do. I love y'all so much. Y'all have no idea.
Shout out to the UK listeners. They out there.
And so I think they just were kind of like looking for something to latch on to, and it just so happened that I was tweeting around the time when their Bi Pride was. So a lot of the UK girlies picked up the hashtag and started using it, and then before you know it, like all over the world, and like some of my mutuals from the United States too started using it. So yeah, that's how it started. Prior to like that hashtag started in 2018, I had already been doing like years and years and years of just like personal like research, just like trying to figure out like everybody or a lot of people invalidate my identity. I want to know for myself, am I really valid? Is this really real? Am I making this up? Am I lying to myself? All that shit. So I had amassed like an enormous amount of like information from various places like psychology, sociology, neuroscience, all these different places. And then on Twitter is where I would share a lot of my findings, articles I read, blah, blah, books. And so by 2018, when I started the hashtag, I had already known quite a lot and already like had been followed by like a lot of bi or pan or fluid people. So yeah, they were that support system that like helped with the hashtag boosting and sharing their stories, which was beautiful. And then I started eventually making YouTube videos like a year after I started that hashtag, and started flushing out more discourse and more of my ideas. And I eventually realized like, oh, like talking to people about bisexuality who are not bisexual, pansexual, fluid is kind of like not fun for me. So like, what do we want to talk about? What do we need? Like, what are our needs? And what are the conversations that we want to have amongst ourselves? So that is really what spawned this book, because the book is not like trying to necessarily convince people who are straight or gay that like bi men exist. Like I'm off that. Honestly, I can't. I don't hear,
bitch. You already know.
If you don't know by now,
okay,
pay it.
Yeah. It is more of like, okay, what are the conversations that we need to have, and also just looking at studies and stuff like that. You know, as the years go on, there are an increasing amount of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender people as more representation increases, and also more information becomes available to people. Like, oh, these feelings that I have a name. Oh, I am gay. I am a lesbian. I am transgender. I am bisexual, pansexual. So I saw like such an enormous rise of so many bi and pan people over the last couple of years, and I'm like, okay, great, this is amazing. And also like, beyond just feeling like your identity is valid, we also need to talk about things like power and consent. We need to talk about things like gender. We need to talk about things like black feminism. We need to talk about race, girl.
Talk about it.
So
get into her.
That's right. That's what I did in the book, essentially.
Yeah. And so you spoke about representation specifically. So can we get into a little bit about some pop culture representation of bi plus men in media? Who are some of your favorites you like that you've seen over the years, over the medias, over the pop culture years?
Over the medias.
Okay.
Okay.
Over the camera lenses.
Okay, so I think most recently there is a character in Grownish. Yeah, no. Yeah, Grownish. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, which one?
His name is Dez, and he was dating Jazz, which is played by Chloe Bailey.
Oh yes.
Right.
I remember him.
Okay.
Oh, remember them? Oh yes.
Okay.
I've seen.
Very true. I can see him else.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So that was probably one of my favorite moments of representation in the last couple of years, at least 5 years.
Okay.
Because I relate so much to Dez. Basically, Dez and Jazz, who is Chloe's character, they are both on the track team together. So for a long time, Jazz, Chloe's character, thinks that Dez is gay. And so eventually that conversation comes up, and he's like, oh, no, I'm not gay, I'm queer. I like people. I like, across genders. And she was like, oh. Okay. Okay. And so eventually they start dating or going out, hanging out, in that way or whatever. And what I love about this piece of representation is that she is like cool with the fact that he is queer, like is interested in multiple genders and black. And what is the deal breaker is not his sexuality, but more so his gender presentation or gender expression. And so that for me is getting more nuanced, because even though he's being rejected or whatever, or being used, which is really what happens in those episodes. But anyway,
you talked about that with this. He was wearing a skirt.
Yeah, he was wearing a skirt, and he had like a hoodie over it or something like that. So anyway, what I like about it is that we're getting more nuance. It's not just, oh, black bi men, you're the devil, you're awful, fuck you guys. Right. It's, oh no, like, she fucks with him, they are on the track team, they have lots of things in common, they have chemistry, they flirt, blah, blah, they look great together, whatever. And it's not his bias or his queerness in terms of his sexuality that is the deal breaker, but it is more his gender presentation or gender expression. So I do like that personally, even though like obviously like, oh, it's being rejected. I do like that because this is like, I was born in 89. I'm thinking about growing up in the 90s, growing up in the 2000s. bro, this is like what? This is
Leaps
so.
and bounds.
This is
Yeah.
leaps and like.
Yeah.
Forward.
Child.
Yeah.
So and the reason why I think also another reason why I like it is also because the show is highlighting that bisexuality or pansexuality or fluidness in Black men or Black people assigned male at birth is treated different in our society than bisexuality, pansexuality, and women. And this show in particular, Grownish, they also had another bi male character in like their first season, and he was rejected by a bi woman, and who didn't believe that he was bisexual, and so they are highlighting, like, it's not just these awful things are happening to the bi characters. They're highlighting the double standard sort of, or the ways that it's different for by men in our society. So I like that they're highlighting that.
And even by like white men, right? Versus what it means to be a bi Black man too, as well. Like I feel like there's always this conversation around like how white men can have the freedom to explore their sexuality and to make out with guys at a party and have sexual relationships with guys and still have the freedom to even decide or have the choice, right, to be able to say whether or not they're bisexual or they're straight or they're gay. Like they have the freedom and the range to be able to do that. But when a Black man decides or is going through or struggling with their sexuality or just exploring their sexuality, it's automatically like, nah, either you straight or you gay.
Right.
And like, you know, I wish my brothers peace and range to be able to explore who they are, because I think it's a part of who you are as a person. I think in general, like, you should explore like who you are, but even still, like, being a if you identify as like even bi plus, like a lot of Black men don't have the freedom and comfortability to be like, oh no, like I like both genders, like, but then oftentimes I feel like what Grownish also highlighted is that like Chloe's character Jazz like already pigeonholed him as gay, and then like it's so hard. For me, it like highlighted the reality of, like, there's so many Black women who feel like it's so hard for them to see Black bi men as equally loving, like both genders. You know what I mean? Because it's like the Black women often, in my experience, are like, well, they won't date once they find out a man is like bi or likes men. Then all of a sudden they have to be gay. Like they can't be bi. You know. But I think that's the very real thing about like representation in media as well, because like that's the real thing that happens in our community, right? Like it's like how do you then deal with that? The recognition that like you're have to deal with your own preconceived notion of what you think about Black men and Black men being queer, but you have to deal with you know, like how it plays out in person. Like, oh well, I really do fuck with this person, but like, girl, like you're attracted to him, but now your own preconceived fucked up notion is telling you not to date this man because they're also bisexual. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, shout out to Grownish for also telling that story, because it's very real in our community. I think how we talk about you know, like dating by men, about how as a Black community we deal with bisexuality and in general pansexuality as a whole. So yeah, I think the episode was really great to see about how they use that character. And also you talk about like queer baiting and bi device and bi baiting. So can you talk a little bit more about like, you know, what are some positive representation of like bi device, which you coined, that girl, a scholar, as we mentioned,
an academic.
Hello. Talk about it. Okay.
I cannot. Okay, so I'm definitely about to get into all of that. I do want to say that there are plenty of Black women who are very supportive of bi and pan men,
also,
especially bi and pan Black women. Top tier. I'm sorry, I don't know a better girl. And then also especially like alt Black women. So those are like the goth girlies or the girls who like maybe y'all look at them and like, what the fuck are they wearing or why are they right? yes, they tend to be very supportive of bi, pan, black men.
I live.
Love them. That's where I live. That's where I go.
Boom.
That's where I frequent. Love them.
Yes.
So I definitely have to shout them out. So yes, and then so now we're talking about queer baiting, bi device. What is this? What are these things? Okay, so queer baiting, its original definition was very similar to race baiting. So it had to do with like politicians insinuating someone was black or insinuating that someone was dating a black person as like a pejorative, as a way to get voters to like look at them in a bad way. So kind of so if you would insinuate that your opponent, politically speaking, was queer in some kind of way, then maybe they wouldn't get as many votes. So that's the original, like those are the histories, the origins of that term, queer baiting. And then it's transformed since like, Tumblr, Twitter, to mean a time.
That's right. If you were there, you were there.
You were there, and if you weren't, you weren't.
Anyway, sorry.
So queer baiting has now taken on another meaning for fictional characters, and the relationship between writers exploiting this idea of like pretending like a certain character is queer, is LGBTQ plus potentially, and this is to signal to more liberal audiences that we like you, watch our show, we like you guys. But there's never any actual like real representation or significant representation. So you could think about shows like Teen Wolf, like the relationship between Scott and Styles. You could think about shows like
they wanted to make them bi so bad.
The Crimes of right. You could think about like Dumbledore and Grindelwald, right? And Supernatural, like one of the brothers is like, it seems like, oh, are you bi, bro? You're bi. And they never right, exactly. Or like if they ever in these shows, if they ever do show any kind of same gender or whatever, they immediately die that episode or whatever. So that kind of gets into killing off your that kind of gets into killing off like your gays, which is a whole other like thing in media.
Can't have a good thing. True Blood.
True Blood. Okay, so that's like these are the tropes that TV shows kind of fall into. So that's like queer baiting. And then what was happening over the last couple of years is like a lot of users who are bi or pan started using bi baiting to signal when shows are kind of hinting that a character is like, are you bi? But they never actually go through it. And so I really loved a lot of the conversations around that. I decided to coin a term, bi device, like plot device. It's the same idea, where they use the idea of a character being bi or pan as a plot device to make it more interesting, to make it more spicy, and to bring in views. But there's no bisexual or pansexual character ever displayed for real. And so like I think a more recent example of this is Insecure. I wrote about it in the book with the character Jared and Molly. They were together, and this was actually something in the book that I talked about not feeling as exploitative as some of the other examples that I use in the book. For me, especially since I've been rocking with Issa Rae since the beginning, right? For me, it didn't feel as exploitative as the other examples because I know Issa Rae's history. Issa Rae had a podcast back in the day called the Fruit Podcast. This is when podcasts were a new thing. And so this podcast chronicled the life of a pro football player who is bisexual. And so it was very clear to me that she heavily fucks with bi black men, bi pan black men. So there's that history, and also even in the show, it doesn't feel like it's trying to necessarily be exploitative. It feels like They're trying to tackle the double standard or address it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you consider Jared bisexual, then surely you must consider Molly bisexual, because the only reason Jared felt comfortable enough to share that he had explored with another man is because Molly shared first.
Correct.
But, you know, Bi Device really talks about, like, exploitation of the idea of a bi person, bi character in media, used to draw in views, used to draw in ratings, used to draw in hype. And even now to this day, people still consider the character Jared bisexual, and I personally do not. If you go back and watch the show, he doesn't think he is bisexual. He considers himself straight. He had an experience with a man. He wasn't too, like, it didn't do any, like, he wasn't into, he doesn't think about men. He's a date man. He's engaged with men.
And I had that misconception. I misremember that. And so you clarified that for me too.
I mean, he not into men. He don't like niggas. He like women. He don't like, it's yeah, like, so, but people still think, like, people refer to Jared as bisexual. They're like, oh yes, the bisexual character.
And that speaks
I'm like,
to the Bi Device, because
exactly.
like that was the conversation being had around it, even though it wasn't that.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Bi Device, iconic. Look how you ate that. Thanks. It's clicking in. As I was reading it was clicking in, but it's clicking in even more.
Okay.
Now that you're explaining it, like here. Yes.
Would you say that you have like a favorite bi character that you feel like is like a really great representation?
This is a great
of like within media. Do you feel like you have one?
This is a,
because there's one that you wrote about in the book that I really liked.
David.
From
David.
From Moonlight.
Oh no, you're talking about.
Oh, that's Kevin.
I was gonna say Kevin from Moonlight. He's been my.
Oh,
so
really?
I really like Kevin from Moonlight.
Oh.
How
like. So?
I do. Me. What's that phrase I can't say? Let me cut.
Sharon Truth.
Okay, baby. I was calling Kevin everything but a child of God in the theater. Why would you ever fuck with my...
you do that?
I do. I like Kevin. I like him.
Okay.
I mean, I like both him. I love Chiron too. I think also Moonlight in general was just, you know,
transcendent.
I think it was a really great representation for me, and very realistic representation of like queer men and their relationships with each other, and like trying just also figuring out their queerness. And them being very like just honest with each other and what they were going through and where they were at mentally, and like where they are then at presently when the film ends as well. And I feel like Kevin is also, for me, he always embodied somebody who, well, towards the end he embodied as a nigga who like he was in a different place now, but like he was like physically like when you don't know or don't have the language around like your queer identity, and also you really only have this one interaction, this one connection that you have that is so emotional for you, like, and also we don't tell Black men how to be emotional, right? Like we don't like talk about those things either. But he shared that space and that moment with Chiron, and never really either of them ultimately have that same kind of moment again with each other or with anybody else. And so in a lot of ways they both dealt with it in the ways that they could with what they knew. So I really like what it got, and it was like it says I don't remember if Kevin actually like also remarries with a woman afterward, towards the end. I feel like he has a woman in his life.
I don't recall. I don't think.
I can't remember, but like I just also remember like the immediate moment when Chiron comes back, and it's like now he's like, oh well, I have this space for you, and he like always makes time for him, and it's like you can be having this moment or whatever, and he's like, we'll always like he's like, I'm gonna make something shake, like we gonna hang out, we gonna make room, we gonna make space, like, you know. And I feel like I enjoyed that. I feel like that was such a beautiful thing, because for a lot of Black men, it's not always that easy to do that. Like, it's just, society already judges you. There's all this, like,
It's a lot.
It's a lot, and for him to always make the space without even second guessing for this man who he has not seen, who shows up out of the blue. I think that's beautiful. I'm sorry, I love it. I eat it up every time.
And he was cooking for him. Romantically and sexually and sensually and chopping those onions.
Cooking for his man, honey.
The sexual tension of that. I was in the theater, I was like, oh.
Wow.
I'm a little,
A man.
I'm
sorry. I'm sorry.
Well,
I cannot.
I love him.
Okay.
Get into
Y'all are so funny. Okay.
Okay.
Don't fight me.
It's fine. I'll feel your feelings.
Okay.
Thoughts, your thoughts.
So, let me get.
Okay.
Okay. Boomerang. There's a TV show. You know, we know the Eddie Murphy movie. You know, there's a TV show, and there's a character named Ari. He's a bi-black man, and he like is on a different like sort of, I don't want to say end of the spectrum, but he has a different experience than mine. I grew up like people thinking I'm gay. He grew up people think he's straight. So we have those very different experiences, but he's a bi-black man nonetheless. And so what I love about that character is he is messy and human as fuck. And like, I feel like in a lot of ways polar opposites, not just because of the whole like people assuming like, oh, he's straight and assuming I'm gay, but also because like, I don't know, I feel like I've been so sort of like buttoned up and like I have to be perfect and I have to be, you know, the respectability, and that's a lot of what the book is like. A lot of the book is like unlearning respectability politics, really. And Ari is not interested in respectability. He do what the fuck he want. And like, so that character speaks to me so much. He's so messy. He's so human. He says the wrong thing. And I feel like I'm such a like a politically correct girly. And like, I have been this way for so long. Like, that's just kind of how I am.
Relatable in a way.
Yeah. And I love myself. I'm amazing. I love respecting other people. I love respecting others. But I also love that, like, bro, he just say whatever the fuck comes in his mind too. Like, you know,
there's something about that.
Like, oh shit. So yeah, that depiction of like a bi-black man is like very cool to me, even though it definitely is problematic. Definitely 100%. But it's still very like, it like, oh shit, like, yeah.
But I think also one of the things that you also talk about in that chapter too is that like bi men are also allowed to be problematic too, right? They're allowed to be messy. The characters are not allowed. They don't have to be perfect. Like, we're human. Like, we go through these things. Like, we experience life in all of these different ways, and we don't always handle it perfectly. Like, and bi men are part of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're allowed to be not perfect. They don't have to be perfect to receive like respect or to receive love. You know? Yeah. So yeah. That's what I would like to say about that. Like, you know, that's fair. Allow niggas to be messy. Niggas ain't gotta be perfect. Because, you know, let's fight against the white patriarchy, bitch. Because white patriarchy, bitch, they're the ones that tell you, girl, that you gotta be this and you gotta be perfect. You gotta be buttoned up. You gotta be this.
You gotta think of the binary terms.
You know what I'm saying?
Get into it.
So, you know.
Now, on that note, well, not on that note, but kind of. Are we touching on this last question, or are we? How do you feel?
Me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, wrapping it up. Final question.
Okay.
Which we were chatting down. I'm gonna just close it out real quick. Was there anything that you were afraid to talk about in this book?
Yeah. Okay. So the hardest chapter for me was bisexuality as a politic. Okay. So that chapter is one of the last chapters in the book, and you know, I'm a smart girl, okay? I'm a smart girl. The thinking cap is on, however.
Always.
That chapter, oh baby. Tying all the, you know, everything up and
You need the avatar.
I was bending all
Yeah.
kinds of things.
Okay.
Fire. What?
All of them.
It's true. It's true.
So it was scary, literally, and
Yeah.
like I had to take breaks from like writing the chapter, and the chapter's not even really very long, but like mentally I was like, oh, like this is scary. Can I do this? I don't know. Am I smart enough? Oh my God, all of that, and also not just hard as a writer, but as a person too, because like I'm sure like y'all to some degree could understand like this idea of like being flattened into like, oh, you're the gay one, and like kind of stripped of like your uniqueness.
Oh yes.
Like, yeah, that's so much of what I've experienced throughout my life. Like, oh, you're this, and like being flattened, and so then to take my identity and actually wear it like, oh yes, I can use the identity as a politic, as a way of piercing through white supremacist, capitalist, imperialist patriarchy. That was very hard as a person, not just as a writer. So that was very scary. That was very challenging for me. And that chapter really ties so many ideas together. And lets bi, pan, fluid men, masculine people know ways in which we can actually do our part in trying to tear down this system. So, yeah.
Wow. That's beautiful.
Thanks. Tear down the system, ho.
What did you say?
I said tear down the system.
Oh, I thought you said something else. I was like, okay, yes.
No.
That.
What did you think I said?
I don't know, something about tear down your sister. I was like, what?
Oh.
I was like, wait, how did we
Well,
get
let's not tear down the system.
No, we're not tearing down our
This is supposed to
sister.
be a sister.
We're not doing that.
Wait, you said you were closing this out. I have questions for y'all.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on.
Okay.
Okay, now wait a minute.
Sean, take it away.
Okay.
I am in no state.
I'm screaming. Okay.
What do you want to ask
Go.
her?
Okay, I have a couple
Yeah.
questions, and then I want to say one more thing at the end.
Okay, well, then we
Okay.
also got to get your, if you want to put your socials out.
Oh, yeah,
And,
yeah.
we'll do that after. But yes,
Okay,
go.
so what are some of the like? Don't look down. Look at me. Look at me in my
I'm
eyes.
listening. I'm listening with my ears. I promise.
I'm not listening. Well, listen with your ears. Bitch. Don't listen with your mouth.
Okay.
Okay.
I guess I'm just kind of curious, like, like the book just came out, so I guess I'm wondering, like, what are some things that kind of resonated with y'all, and also if y'all care to share, what are some things that kind of came up for y'all while reading this? Because, like, I had, like, while writing it, or while rewriting it, really the edits, because honestly, the first draft of this, like, it was all about the data. I'm a data nigga. I'm a research girly. I'm a, the facts. What are the facts?
What are the facts? Show me the context.
Okay. But the other edit was like, oh, I have to actually like make this a memoir. I have to share more about myself, which is not something that I really intended to do going into this. So yeah, I'm really curious about like, right, because I intended for it to be very emotionally stirring. I'm curious, like, what kind of things came up for y'all while y'all were reading this? And
Let me
just
tell you something.
Oh,
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'll make it quick, succinct, and to the point. You really want to like touch on this, but for me, the exudes.
the what?
The
It's a theater term, right? How you pronounce it? When they say exit in French, how you pronounce it?
Isn't that like satir or some shit? I don't know the verb.
I don't know.
Anyway, the departure from Christianity really, to me, like, wow! That really, yes, me as well. Yes, that resonated with me for the same reasons that,
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was powerful for you. And I won't elaborate too much on that, but, the control that had.
Okay.
The chokehold.
The
I was
chokehold. I was,
Baby.
oh my God. Woo! Yes, I won't do too much more, but that one was like, yes, I recall. Same.
For
That shook
me,
me up.
I'll tell you what, you talk about man enough. You said masculinity and femininity.
Ooh.
And I underlined this one because this got me right together. I think you talked about self-esteem, external forces, or whatever. And you said, if I was attracted to someone, I'd find myself holding back, toning down my innate femininity, dampening my energy levels, or putting my idea of what it meant to be more masculine, adopting a persona. And essentially, like, it was about how, you know, adopting a persona as like having to feel like you have to be more masculine in front of certain communities or certain identities and certain people. And that for me kind of fucked me up too, because you know, I identify as gay. I don't identify as bi, but also I identify myself as somebody who's definitely more masculine leaning or seen as masculine, right? And sometimes I'll be feeling like, damn, I was like, I do be in these moments, I'm like, damn, I really do be leaning into this shit that I don't even really be like that. But I be, but you get into this, you feel like you have to yeah, because it's like, it's desirability, right? Like it's all about those things that it's like, we are functioning in this patriarchal society, and it's like, in which ways are you going to be received best, right? In which ways you're going to be more desirable? And it's like, when you perform those things, you perform masculinity well, you do become more desirable. And for me, it was like, reading now, I was like, now wait, now you got my...
Now you kind of de-wigged me. But wait. Can I expound on that a little bit?
God.
My wig was tugged too.
God.
The part you said about like, you there was a part where you mentioned like you feel like you're betraying yourself a little bit. Because, I was like, oh shit! Oh my god!
Girl, yes.
He got my wig.
Girl, oh yes.
That was very...
And it gagged me.
That I said, oh shit.
Yes, a lot of the things. Spitting, bitch. A lot of things you were talking about as far as like masculinity and like being somebody who was and you know, you felt like you grew up effeminate and queer as well, and so like having all of that was like, because for me, like, honestly, no, for real, like, I was like,
relatable.
I was growing up queer. I was growing up also an athlete. I was growing up also feminine. I was told, you know, put some bass in your voice, all of those things, and it's so like and it's like all those things, and you're just trying to be yourself. So you're coming to terms. It's like, what does it mean? Is my voice not inherently deep? But then now that you're learning that, okay, the way that I speak is not okay. So now I have to then change the way that I talk to people, on top of the way that I can't run a certain way for me as an athlete, because I was told that like the way that you run is feminine. So now you have to adjust the way that you run naturally. And so now you're thinking about the way that you run, the way that you speak, the way that you have to address certain people. So you were scalping me, and so, but it was also in such a way that like it made me realize all the ways that we just like internalize and police ourselves, our bodies, the way that we police how we speak, the way that we police how we dress, the way that we, you know, how we show up at family gatherings, like all these
I don't know, girl.
All these things. No, honestly, girl,
I don't go.
Woo!
Baby, I don't go.
But like, wow, when I tell you, like, I also,
life-changing,
you know, and when I started reading your book, it was also around your birthday time, and I told you, I was like, yes, I was like, thank you so much for writing this book, because, and I genuinely mean this, because this book is so on time for me as somebody who's just continue to exploring my own identity, and just who I am as a queer man, as a Black man, and all the ways that I've also internalized how the world teaches us to like not like ourselves and not like, you know, who we are naturally, but also how they want to profit off of us too, right? In a lot of ways. And so, especially as a creative, like in this space, and seeing all the ways in which they use my sexuality to make their story spicy, or use my sexuality to Make a character more interesting. And then also I like how they act. How they act.
It's how you act. act.
With all of us. And so it was for me, it hit in different areas. And I was just so appreciative. And, as a nigga who don't always, I'm not a bitch who I like to read like that. I have to be very choosy with my novels.
You're well-read.
I'm a well-read. But let me tell you something. I feel like it took me, I feel like I was never, growing up, like, I was never like about it like that because I feel like books are always about like white people and all their like this crazy shit. And like white people shit. But like when I tell you like I feel like in adulthood like I've been making a more of a conscious effort to really read books that are like centered around my community and people about us. Yes. And you know what I'm saying? Yes. And like Dear by Men, like even as a black man who would just want to understand people of different sexual identities, gender identities, representation, whatever that means, I would pick up this book. Like, as a queer man, the ways that you spoke to me, like, I was like gagging from beginning to still to this day. to this day.
That's so
like, wow, and just giving the girls terms, definitions, understanding, foundations. Just thank you so much for writing this piece. For real.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I didn't even to say you picked that up. Everything you said, same. Bitch.
Okay.
That's very kind. I appreciate that.
Sorry. No.
Just the last thing I wanted to say. Yes. Y'all are very kind. That's very, very sweet. I know I really appreciate that. That's very sweet. I'm gonna be okay. Okay, I'm fine. Everything's fine. I was just also working through. I mean, girl, there's a lot in the book. One of the things I was working through that I hope really came through was this question of, am I evil? What is evil? And being told that you're evil because of your sexuality and because of your race. And even because of your gender too. That was a real question I was really working through in this book, among many. And so, I just hope that anybody listening to this, if you've ever had those questions or if you've ever been treated like you're evil because of your sexuality or gender identity or what have you, I think that some of the ways that I explore that question are really important. And I go beyond just like the internal work, which is very important and which is what my life has really been centered around for, I would say, like the last, 10 to 15 years. Like, let's do the work, let's get in therapy, all of that. And I started to try to flip it onto society, because so much of what you find in mental wellness communities, spiritual communities is, let's do the internal work. Let's figure out why something triggered us. And, while a lot of that can be really empowering, so few times does it ever go on to actually our environment has the biggest impact on how we feel about not only ourselves, but also others. And so one of the things I'm really proud of with this book is the ways in which I was able to start to question society. This idea of attachment styles and attachment theory has become really popular over the last couple of years. And I've talked about how not only the impact of our caregivers plays a vital role, but also the way society treats us and the way society shapes a narrative about who we are and how that can impact our attachment style. And I first got that idea of doing that from this woman. Her name is Jessica Fern. She's an author and a psychotherapist. And, she and other people have talked about, who your parents were, your caregivers were, and how they treated you. That's one part of your attachment pie, but it's also how the world sees you and treats you and responds to you, the structures that exist. So in the book, we're also talking about structures. We love feelings. I'm a feeling girly, I'm a therapy girly, healing girly, plant girly. Lots of plants in my room. And we're also talking about structures in society. So it's time to think about.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Wow.
And I think that wraps us up.
More or less. Basically, the last thing I'm going to do before we go, you're going to tell the people, if you want, where they can find you. If you don't want to be found, tell them, have a good night.
Okay. To hell they go. If they don't want to find that.
But I have a feeling, you have a book out, you want to tell people.
That's also true.
I have a feeling. It's just a feeling. I don't know. I could be wrong.
It's a hunch. Oh my Lord.
I don't assume anything. Anyway, go ahead.
So yeah, you can find me at like pretty much all platforms. My name is J.R. Yusuf, JRYUSSUF. And so I'm most active, I would say, on Twitter and Instagram. I started making TikToks not too long ago. Yes. My name on there is Peppa Pig Hate Account.
Great TikTok.
Thank you. We don't have to get into why that name is what it is, but Peppa Pig Hate Account is my name on TikTok. Mm-hmm. And I also have a website. On my website is like another part of the book. Essentially, it is like a comprehensive, supportive sort of thing for like people's mental wellness, especially bi or pan masculine people. And so yeah, it has like a lot of like reflection questions, it has a lot of resources, it has a lot of bi history, a lot of famous bi people whose names are like erased and forgotten. A really memorable one is on that list is James Baldwin, but I think I've erased it now because though James, like James wouldn't have used like bi or pan to describe himself. He wouldn't have used gay either. He wasn't a person of labels, and that's like very common among like bi, pan people. Like a lot of us really don't like labels. So what usually happens is we get labeled as gay or straight. But yeah, there's a long list of like lots of historical figures who's like, oh, they were bi, or they engaged with multiple genders. So yeah, there's a lot of resources on there, lots of cool things. I also have like a Patreon. Okay. So yeah, if you wanna get into that, you can do that too.
Yes. I get it to Dear Bi Man. Wherever books are sold.
Dear Bi Man.
You see it.
You see it.
By good Judy. J.R. Yusuf. Boom. Look how we ate that. Look how we ate that.
Is the episode. Thank you so much for being on. Yes. Like I said, it's been a long time coming.
Thank you.
This was like one of my favorite episodes.
Thank you.
Just so lovely and so we'll catch y'all next week.
Until next time.
Bye.